What's up, guys? This is Del back again. We're going to do a little something different in light of all the stuff that's going on. I'm here with my two friends, Joe Spencer. Tom, I ain't going to front. I'm going to try to pronounce your last name. I need you to say it. My homie from Denver, Tom. Say it. Tom, what's your last name?
Ogunribido.
Say that one more time.
Ogunribido.
Okay. Joe, say that. What's his last name? Ogunribido?
Oh, close. Ogunribido.
Ogunribido.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we've been knowing each other for a long time. I got a funny story with how I met Joe, but Tom is, I've just been knowing from around the way. Tom is used to stay in Chicago, right, Tom?
Yeah.
And now you stay in Denver, and Tom is doing the scene up in Denver real quick, just blowing it up out there. So the purpose of the call, I don't even want to make it so much of an interview, but I just wanted to talk, not only get your feelings on like what's going on in general with all the crazy shit that's going on, but also I felt like I wanted to keep it on topics. This is kind of a channel about salsa dancing, and I intended to expand upon salsa and just my thoughts on that shit. But as Black Salseros, I want to talk to you guys about your experience. Yeah, Joe, you're raspy, bro. You need to shave, homie. So I just wanted to talk to you guys about your experiences, whether good or bad. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It just has to be something where we're like spreading the word about people's experiences in the community. You know what I'm saying? So this is traditionally a quote unquote Latino community, right? I think stereotypically when people think of a salsa scene, that's what they immediately default to. I think those of us in it know that it's a little bit more multicultural than that. Now, what I want to get to the bottom to is, to what degree do you find it to be an inclusive community? You know what I mean? And if it's good, then good. I'm good on the people who have been inclusive. And if it's not good, we don't need to be throwing shade and stuff. But I mean, we can if we want to. I don't give a shit. People need to be put out on blast. But it's just more about talking about like mindsets and seeing what's up. So, I mean, whichever one of you want to just kind of talk about it.
I'm gonna let you go, Joe. You go ahead, brother.
Joe, I've known you longest. Right. Talk. Get yourself in the center. Why are you over in the corner hiding?
Oh man, I don't know. We're not being corner. I would say in general, one of the biggest things I've gotten from the salsa scene in general, that I feel like it's pretty inclusive. I feel like there's a lot of open-minded people, especially for it to be dominated by the Latino culture. I mean, again, it's something when I started dancing, I didn't realize that it was done in so many places.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea they danced salsa in Africa and China and Italy and Spain. I would have never guessed Paris had such a big salsa scene, and Canada, and I mean, there's
everywhere, literally.
There's a country that doesn't have salsa, right? And I'm talking about a pretty vibrant scene. And in most scenes, it's pretty diverse as far as people. The scene as itself is open-minded as far as looking to be inclusive, whether it be with sexuality, whether it be with race. Again, I think I always try to check myself and realize that, okay, number one, I'm not the majority in this thing. Like me being a black guy, I'm not the majority. So I have to also check myself to be like, not always trying to call shit out as being racist or being sexist or whatever the case may be. Not sexist. That's a whole different topic.
Yeah, sure.
But as far as race, not getting too caught up in my ideology behind race, as far as how I view it in America in comparison to how I view it in the salsa scene, right?
For sure.
Because those are, to me, are two separate things. In the salsa scene, especially here in Chicago, and even when I travel, again, it's pretty inclusive. Like, I have no real knock on the salsa scene. I think I've seen some stuff over the past few days from the Chicago salsa scene that I wasn't too excited about. But again, speaking to the masses, speaking in the whole, it's a great family environment. Like,
you want to touch on that? Or just kind of people showing their colors?
Again, I don't think it's so much people showing their colors. I think it's just a tough time for everybody. I think certain people, the concept of perspective still plays a really big factor in how we do things.
Yeah.
And so for certain people, certain perspectives matter more. And it's going to differ from mine. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's just like blatant and upfront about being, again, I don't like even using the term racist all the damn time, because again, it's almost like, you know, sometimes people say you curse because you don't know how to speak eloquently, whatever the fuck the word is. I'm that guy. I'm going to curse because I don't speak eloquently. But at the same time, I think we can't go around calling everything racist. I think I do understand there's a big learning curve that needs to happen. I think there's still some separation between certain people and certain issues. But again, I'm just not the guy who's always going to be like, oh, that guy's racist or that type of shit. There's some stuff. But it's not enough to say it's racist, and it's not enough to give fault or blame to the entire scene. So I guess it's something I'm still somewhat. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people speak up who I was really surprised. I was like, damn, like this. I've been seeing some people speak up that made me like, I like it a lot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. How about you, Tom?
Well, first of all, just pardon. I told you guys before. They're doing some work on some construction on my house right now. So if you hear some knocking and stuff like that, that's what's going on. But, you know, the revolution is going to be televised, right?
Most definitely.
One way or the other. For me, to be very honest, I kind of am aligned a little bit with Joe, I would say, is the scene has been pretty inclusive as far as I've known. And I also am the kind of person that I've heard things from different people about how they have been treated in their own scenes, if you may, being people of color or being black, I should say.
Yeah.
But I cannot speak on that from my own experiences, and usually, personally, I don't like to talk about somebody else's experience because there's a lot more to that.
Of course, we don't know where they're coming from either,
Exactly, you know what I'm saying. So personally, I'll say that so far it's been pretty inclusive. I'm a very happy-go-lucky guy myself. And like Joe was saying too, I try as much as possible not to just immediately like label something as, oh, they did that because I was black, or oh, they did that because of this, or they did that because of that. But at the same time, I think it wasn't until like maybe about a few years back, that I started to look into situations and look at stuff and look some of the class that I was in, or sometimes when I would go out to a club, I'll be like, holy crap, I was the only black guy there, wasn't I? You know what I'm saying? Or like, oh, I was the only black guy in that class. I was the only black person in that class. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which it is what it is. I personally am not the type of person that I'm going into a situation automatically looking for a problem. You see what I'm saying? Well, it's just interesting to kind of see that perspective of like, oh,
it's interesting because I can easily process that information like, oh, I'm the only Guatemalan in that class, but that's ridiculous because society as it stands is so built on that dirty fucking vile racism that you all have to have that thought. Does that make sense?
Right.
That's one of the things that really like, I don't want to, this is not about me, yo, but I'm just speaking.
Guatemalan?
Yeah, man, I'm Guatemalan and Honduran. I'm the tallest Guatemalan in the world, by the way. But I'm saying though, I guess I just been feeling restless, like, like what the fuck, man, just people are very disappointed sometimes, and just thinking about like hearing you both say that. Well, you said it, Tom, about like I just realized this, but like to me, it's kind of fucked up that you even have that thought. So. We can kind of have another perspective about this. This could be a very interesting conversation if I had two white guys, because that's in our community, that's a possible situation too, right? Where they can be the only white guy in a certain thing. And that's probably typically, I don't want to generalize, but typically that might be a very uncommon situation for them to be in. Right. Does that make sense? Where like, oh shit, I'm the only white person here. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And that's the first time they're bought into that reality or that mindset. You know what I'm saying? And for you guys, I guess I'm asking now because you led me down this path. I mean, is that something that you have to deal with, Joe? Because I guess Tom answered that question already, but like.
Well, I think it's okay. One of the things is that the fucked up thing about, I guess, our society is that we try to make it wrong to view people and see their color and their race and their culture and all that other shit. When we need to be kind of like
amen to that.
Yeah, we kind of need to be at that point where we're like we acknowledge it and we become curious about it. Yeah. And so it's not a bad thing to walk into a room and be like, oh, I'm only black dude, or oh, there's two white dudes, or that. Like, it's nothing wrong with that shit by no means.
Yeah.
What happens from it is that the way you treat these people. And so in our normal society,
For sure.
people you get treated bad by just the concept of being like
Different.
like I remember being in college and I would like go to parties, and this shit sounds random as shit, but I would go to just regular normal parties. I went to predominantly white college. And I would go to the parties, and white dudes would walk up to me and be like, "Hey, my man, let's dance." I'm like, "Dance, dance!" Like, and I don't think there was like bad intention behind it, but at the same time, it's just like, dude, I'm not your fucking monkey. Like, don't walk up to me talking about, "Oh, you're black, you know how to dance. Oh, you must know this rap song," and just that type of bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not always like bad intention behind it, but again, the intention has to matter, and you have to still be present in the concept of understanding other people. And I also want to say something as well. I think our experience as black men is completely different from the experience that black women may have.
For sure. No, I was going to say this because a lot of times I feel like I'm going to say something that's going to, I don't intend this to put me on blast. I've always enjoyed dancing with black women. I think the one time maybe two separate times on two separate occasions on 2 separate years, I've not had a pleasant experience because they had dreads. And they would smack the shit out of me, bro. And like, cause I would naturally be like, da, da, da. And they were able to do it, right? But all of a sudden I'm like, and I'm like, oh shit. I guess I wasn't expecting it until it happened, So that's not shade. That's just like, it caught me off guard, you know what I'm saying? So that's my only, real bad experience. But for sure, Joe, I'm sure it's a different experience. We all know Danita, right? I've heard her say some things to me. I'm like, dude, like, fuck, that's...
You gotta get her in on this show, bro.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about having a conversation with the opposite, like 2 women about this thing and see what their experiences is, because I'm sure it's very different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me say something real quick.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason why I want to say this is because since this is kind of unscripted, so
yeah,
there's some things that come through my mind.
For sure. This is off the cuff, y'all, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want to lose it. Luckily, as Joe said, in the salsa community, we have it. It's more likely for you to find more open-minded people, right? But something that somebody said that I read somewhere that I thought was really poignant was that racism is almost like the coronavirus in a way, right? It can be asymptomatic. You may have it, and you may not even fucking know that you got it. You know what I'm saying? And so you may have it so deeply embedded in you that you may not even necessarily know that that's the reason why you're doing some of the things that you're doing. You see what I'm saying? So, but for me, what I really want to kind of put out there, right, that I want to make sure that we don't lose track of is I really want any white viewers that are watching this right now, and I know I'm using a very broad brush by saying white people, and whoever wants to put themselves in that category, or whoever wants to take themselves out of that category, that's fine. Just needs to, number one, really think introspectively, right, and think about some of the things that they may not necessarily think that they're, and I'm not going to go out and say that they are, right, but there might be some things, some stereotypes that they have inside of them that makes them do certain things, certain ways towards people of color, that they may not even think that this is because of the fact that I'm racist. I just don't drive down Pulaski because of blah, 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 blah. Okay, but think really about that, right? Or whatever it is. But then the second part of that, though, is even if you yourself are racist, right? Or even, and Joe, pardon me, I know I'm totally throwing that word there, like I've said that maybe at this time.
You're good, bro. Just go. Just talk.
But I'm just saying that because we might just better put it out there, right?
Yeah.
Even if you yourself are not racist, right? The chances that you have at least one uncle that is, and then one, cousin that is asymptomatic, the chances of that happening as a white person is probably at least 95%.
Yeah, for sure.
So the point for me, I guess, is just really I'm just pleading as much as I can with all of my white family members and whites ourselves and whoever else that is watching this, have the conversation. That's it. have the conversation. I'm like, that don't have to change anybody's mind, right? But have the conversation. If it means anything to you, right? If it means anything to you, then have the conversation and just say, hey, look, I, myself, Joe, there are some people that we just cannot reach. We cannot get past the wall, right? We just can't reach them. The moment you bring up anything that is race related, there's a wall that is going to automatically spring up, and they're just going to get defensive, right? I'm not racist. Well, I voted for Obama. Like, oh, I'm not racist. Well, I have 10 black employees. I have 3 black friends. Blah 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 blah. They're going to have all these defenses that come up immediately. But if they have a niece that just say, Sally, right? She's in the Salsa scene. She watches this video. She hears this, and she's like, no, yes, I really don't. I mean, I love fucking dancing with Joe. He could be a jerk sometimes, but again, that's fine. It is what it is. He doesn't.
Joe's an ass.
Yeah.
Why do people think I'm an ass? I'm so nice. I'm literally having conversations about. What is it about me to think I'm an asshole?
It's the asshole part. That's what it is. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
But cool, and there is no reason why we should feel as though that he should have to be treated any differently as as Nick over here.
Yeah.
I thought she goes on Thanksgiving and they're having Thanksgiving dinner. But she's just like, yo, how about this whole thing with the George Floyd stuff that's happening? And then, of course, somebody's going to be like, oh, come on, man, we don't need to have this conversation, And then she's like, it's important to me, and I really want to talk about it. You see what I'm saying?
So I'm going to kind of jump in real quick with what you're talking about, because Tom, just going off what you just said about, like, people sometimes, especially in our environment or in our community, I'm talking about dancing community, not want to bring outside problems into our salsa world, because I think we all need to remember that salsa world is not like normal world.
Yeah, it's like a happy world.
Salsa community is like a world within a world. It's like we have our own world. We understand there's problems and issues in our world, but for most of us, we use this kind of platform to leave outside the normal like bullshit, right?
Yeah.
You're having problems with work, you're having problems with the girlfriend, you come dancing, you leave that shit behind. So you don't bring the topics of racism and all that other shit into this space because you're just there to dance and have fun for the most part. But that's one part of it. When shit gets real, when you still walk outside of these walls, it's like you start questioning, okay, who am I or what am I, right? And so that's when, honestly, here in Chicago, especially over the last few days, I had a real big issue because Dale, I'm pretty sure you've seen it, but like the kind of beef between like the Latino black community and stuff, and that shit kind of bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we all understand to say those few bad apples that can cast a big cloud over everybody.
I mean, it's more than some bad apples, but it's definitely. I mean, look, for whatever it's worth, y'all know that I'm standing with you all. I mean, have been. The thing of it is, it's not because I'm doing it because it's fucking fashionable. I've been doing it my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like the shit at the minute. I know there's a lot of people like me who feel the same way, who like, I don't know, just like, it's so weird. Like I have a kinship, just because pretty much most of the experiences have been very positive in my life, you know what I'm saying? In regards to just interacting with my previous black bosses or my black teachers and my mentors and stuff. So personally, me, Del, I don't know that that's everyone's experience, but I've always had that kinship. So it's always been like an amazing relationship for me. So it's really fucking disappointing to see some Latino people like, I don't know, man, because we can easily go down that path about making this a race war and shit, but like, it's fucking disheartening to see the people in Cicero like acting up, like the Latin Kings and all the gangs out there, like fucking riling up bad. I'm finding more of the Latinos that I happen to have on my feed or people that I have even if it's a distant connection, most of those people tend to be cool, but then you start seeing some of the people in the outwork. And one of my buddies said, the people start showing even if it's like Tom said, it's like a small thought, it's still that thought or still something that's formulating their philosophy on certain things. You know what I mean?
Well, can I speak to that? Or Joe, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Go ahead.
Yeah? Okay. This is huge, man. This is huge.
I got something too I want to talk about specifically with Tom. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, this is huge because it definitely bothered me a lot. just kind of seeing this idea. But one of the things that I've been trying to do personally, right, is this idea of, oh, by the way, I need to recommend this book to everybody. I know most of you guys might have read it, I don't know. But The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah.
7 Habits, huge. And I just finished reading that maybe about a month ago.
Stephen H. Covey, right? I guess his name that guy is?
Yeah,
I've read it. I've read it.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that he talked about that is very important is about listening with the intent to understand. Right? So when we go into a conversation, we have a tendency to want to impose our voice into that conversation, right? You already have your own mind set up on what you think is right, on what you think that should be done, or what you think is supposed to be the course of action, stuff like that. And there really isn't much growth and learning from that, right? Really where the growth and learning comes from is when you go to talk to somebody and you really, really want to understand what's going on in their mind, right? And this doesn't even matter if what they're talking about is wrong. So I have to really take that shit and be like, okay, how can I really understand this idea? Because if I see what somebody is doing and I'm like, yo, that's fucked up, you know? But I want to understand why you are doing it.
Yeah.
Like that, like that is huge. And so I'm working on that right now. I don't have the answer. I'm still working on that right now. That's why I wanted to bring this up. Because one of the things I was thinking in my mind, right? I was thinking about this and I was like, wow, I'm guilty for this, right? I was like, when there have been several like Latino causes that have been going on over the last 5-7 years as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, ever since, you know, our good old friend in the White House got in there, a lot of the stuff that he's been doing with the Latino community.
Yeah.
And I started wondering myself, I'm like, I was not part of that. I did not really, I mean, I went to some of the fundraising, right? And I donated, I mean, I did, but I didn't really speak up, you know? And so I took a second to really try to think about that and say, okay, I see, I get it, right? So for me, that was a growing point for me to recognize, right? Is that whatever affects any of our brothers and sisters affects us all, you know? And so, and it's one of the things that helped me. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form justify the action of the Latino community, because let's face it, there, whatever problems it is that Black folks are having with the cops, it's going to happen to the Latino. It's going to happen to the Latino community as well. I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
that's the fucking irony of it. But you know what's funny, Denise?
It's not as if this battle that we're fighting is like, oh, only for Black people. At the end of the day, it goes across the boards throughout all authorities. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm just so my point really is, I wanted to use this opportunity to really just tell all the Latino folks out there, you know, is that, look, I get it. If you guys are upset about something specific, I get it. That's fine. You know, we can learn from that. But if you are going to use that as a reason, then that's a really fucked up reason to you. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you're going to say that you like really don't agree with our cause, and when I say our, sorry, I know it might sound divisive, I apologize, but you know, as our cause as Black people, if you don't agree with the idea of Black Lives Matter for a specific reason, you know, I'm not arguing with you about your reason, right? I am going to say, I really hope that you have a good
Understanding of why.
A good understanding of why. That's exactly right. That you have a good understanding of why. Because if you're just saying, oh, well, you know, all Black people, then you have the problem.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny because we've seen like now everybody's like, oh, where were Black people at when kids were being locked up in cages and all this other stuff? And I'm like, besides the fact that usually that's the divisive shit, man. Like that's the shit that becomes very divisive and ends up separating people. It's like you start playing this game, who's doing what and were you there for me? And it's like, wait, keep the main focus about the main focus and not try to play this game of like, were you there for me? Because that's just not, it doesn't work. Number one, it doesn't work that way. And it's hard. And number two, you can't fucking track who's there for what. Like literally, if you want to take the time and sit up there and be like, oh, I've seen this percentage of black people at this rally, or this percentage of Latinos at this rally, or supporting me doing this shit. It's just the concept of being able to speak up. And at least, listen, speaking up happens in a lot of different fucking forms. Speaking up happens with people with their actions. That happens in literally trying to check people in their personal life. It's not because we have this social media platform now. Everybody feels like that's the only means of being able to express your views and your opinions. That's not fucking true at all. Like, again, some people like to protest. Some people like to fucking march. Some people like to fucking sit in the back, take notes, and then start making action happen. In the fucking dark.
It's funny. That's I had a long conversation with Sekou about this whole thing, and that was one of his things, because he was saying, we're in a different, him and I, because we're similar in our point in life, and he was just like, dude, we're kind of like in a different point in life too, where we have a lot of, and this is where I'm kind of going with Tom, because in a sense, right? I mean, I'm not being arrogant by saying this, but I'm a leader in this community, right? Whether to the degree that I'm a leader is debatable, but it's irrelevant to the fucking conversation. But like, Tom, so are you in your community, right? Trust me, I've tried to get Joe to step up and stuff, and he started doing classes and whatnot. But because we need voices, you know what I'm saying? We need different people with different ideas, because spreading, and it is so true. Like that, what you just said is really important, because like you have your way to affect change, I guess. And you're right about like your action. There's no right or wrong action. It's the way you act. It's just hopefully for the right cause. I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying this right. If that makes sense.
I get even again, everybody's not everybody responds to things and does things the same way. You can't just, expectations gonna be like, I'm about to be out there marching, or I'm about to be out there protesting. It's just that I may not just be able to fucking get my message across that way. Yeah. I can still be an ally. It's just like remove that responsibility. Like, again, I think there's a part where it's just like, okay, as long as you're not fucking against me, you're not saying, like, again, the shit that got me on Facebook, what I've seen with some of the people in the community, I've seen dudes posting about, oh, this is the reason why we need AR-15s. This is the reason why we want to load our people have fucking guns. I'm like, this is people that participate in our fucking community. So I'm like, you're an idiot. This is the reason why. It's different situations where I'm like, okay, I can see you're not getting the message at all. And again, I can't expect everybody to fucking have a voice and want to speak up, because not everybody responds that fucking way. And Dale, kind of like what you just said about the concept of like being a leader. I think the concept of being a leader is cool, whatever. I get that. I think one of the things that we all forget is that we're all role models in a sense, and we're all always being watched.
Yeah.
So you're always being fucking watched. You're always being fucking watched. And you have like, when you think about it that way, you have the opportunity to kind of influence someone else's life, because you're being upfront with your intentions to your intentions to the fucking world. Dale, you're like self-proclaimed, I'm a leader, aka I'm gonna do my best because I know that there's people behind me that's fucking taking notes and they're looking and they're watching me. So I mean, I think that's fucking great. I think for me, I understand the concept that I'm being watched at all fucking points in times, especially on social media, especially when I'm even out dancing. Again, for some odd reason, people think I'm an asshole. I don't know why.
No, man, people don't think you're an asshole. You know what it is? You have a resting asshole face. Dude, trust me. I've experienced this in life too. I've had that same thing. I mean, I'm a little smiley too, but I also have my moments where I'm real serious, and I'm kind of just notoriously private. So people interpret that as being like standoffish, but it's more like, just because I'm to myself doesn't mean I'm against you. That just means I'm kind of to my own shit. I'm just in my own head. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's what that is. Yeah, no, it's fine. No, bro, thanks for saying that, man. That's important. I mean, I guess I gotta own that shit. Like, Tom, like, about you too. Like, you're a leader in Denver. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at least from what I'm gathering, I don't know too much about the community. I don't know who are the leaders in Denver. I don't know if you're the big cheese out there. I don't know, like, who's who. But I mean, I definitely get the impression that you're someone with a voice out there. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's good that they're hearing a different perspective and not just, this is not intended to come off the way it's going to come off, but I feel like I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think like part of the reason I wanted to have this conversation with you guys is because I intend to put this on YouTube, and YouTube is easier to kind of find stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the conversation will hopefully be heard more. And I feel like I am typically what people would think about salsa. Like if they think of it, someone like me would pop in their head. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas realistically, all three of us are completely fucking valid as salsa dancers. You know what I mean? So because of that, I feel like, dude, like just because of the amount of people in like, it's been 17 years, since I've been dancing, and like the amount of people that I've interacted with, I've known that this community is multicultural, and I've known that it's inclusive for the most part. I mean, I've heard some stories too, for the most part, but like, I don't know, man. I guess just sometimes we need to have conversations and understand the perspective of other people, like not only their experiences in the community, but just see like how the outside experiences affect what's happening in their participation in this community, and then like in your case, Tom,
I agree with that, Del. But I mean, the thing about it, right, is it's just like you said. The face of salsa, all intents and purposes, for a long time, and it's a Latino thing. It's like even I myself, before I started that, oh, that's not Latino, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Until you learn, right?
Yeah, but that's conditioning. That's how conditioning works, right? When people are conditioned to think a certain way, they don't even know the reason why they think that. They just think it. I mean, in this case, maybe because most of the lyrics are in Spanish or whatever. But even if you were thinking about most of the lyrics in Spanish, there is something that would still say, hey, this thing is a Latino thing, more or less.
Yeah, quote unquote.
And honestly speaking, it's I don't want to say it's fine, because I think it is important for us to start to like break out that a little bit and start to like really show the different shades that are within the salsa community, but also begin to educate about the roots of salsa, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that everybody that comes into salsa needs to automatically be like, yo, okay, congratulations, you're now a salsero, here's a bongo, or like, oh, congratulations, here, go read up on, on Afro-Cuban, orishas and stuff like that. That's not the point. What I think it is important for people to recognize that, and that's why even I myself, I'm gradually beginning to like phase my verbiage from Latin dance to Afro-Latin.
It should be.
Yeah, because for me, I'm beginning to say, okay, you know what, that's one of the ways I can bring, because it's like that, I am a leader in my own right, and I own it. I am appreciative for all of it, all the people that think that there's anything that, that I can actually like give to them, or they can learn anything from me. I appreciate that, but for that reason, I also know that there is a responsibility for me to educate in every way I can, right? I don't have to educate necessarily in the classroom. I can educate just with the way I say things, just right? If even a story on Facebook, and Joe, like you were saying, actually, it's everywhere. It's not necessarily about the things that you actually choose to use to educate people, that educate them. It's even those things that you weren't even thinking about, that people look at and they look in your life and they're like, all right, I'm peeping what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's everything is all about education, but that then goes beyond the salsa, and that's where I was going with this. That then goes beyond the salsa world, which is to say, one of the things that I think is most important, I think I've already told you guys, is communication, but the other part is education, right? It's education. People just need to be educated of the things that we have going on, right? And we just need to learn how to be able to educate, right? Education does not come by yelling at people. Education does not come by, trying to force whatever it is that you have in here on somebody else, right? Education comes from a place of like open and real deep, empathetic, open conversation, right?
Like exchange.
And one of the things that I was telling somebody about just today, I was like, when I don't know why I keep using Sally. Let's change her name, Angela, right? So Angela, when Angela is walking down the street, right, and she's walking down the street in Brooklyn or whatever, right, and she sees two black guys coming down the street, right, and she clutches her purse, and then we say she clutches her purse, right, and then the two guys, they're just two black guys, right, but they're just two guys, really, and Then we tried to find out why did Angela clutch her purse when these two black guys came around. Was it because of the fact that she has had an experience in the past, right, where that happened to her when she actually got robbed? Or was it because of the fact that she had just kind of like learned that subliminally through different things? Like, for example, maybe when younger, and she was with her mom, and they were walking down the street, and her mom her mom pulled her closer and held her, clutched her purse. Just that little action is enough that trained little Angela about how to treat these people. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a thing that we can take from our understanding of, okay, the salsa world is not Latinos, it's Latinos, black folks, white folks, and they all can dance, right? So we can take that to the big world and say, hey, in this big world, we have Latinos, black people, blah, 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 and we are all, to Joe's point, we are all different. We need to clarify that. We are indeed different, but the difference is okay. It's when we don't talk about the fact that, hey, you know what, I like spicy food, but you don't like spicy food. That's okay.
And that's okay, yeah.
It doesn't make it bad, but it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Joe, you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say to add on to your somewhat of analogy with Susie. I don't know what we
Where do we leave off? Okay.
to add on to the Angela analogy, I think when that type of stuff is happening with an individual, I think we all have those type of moments, but I think it's that individual's responsibility, it's Angela's responsibility to kind of go through that, to figure out why she does the thing that she does, and to try to work on it, try to fix it, have conversations with people. Like it's not mainly just hers, because again, that she can have conversations with people as well, but her immediate reaction can't continuously be to clutch the purse every time I see this group of people, right? Because you can notice, oh shit, I clutched my purse, I'm clutching my purse, and you can be like, that's not cool, not everybody's gonna hurt me, regardless of whatever happened to me in the past. Let me, okay, even if something did happen to me in the past, there's some type of trauma there. Okay, let me talk to somebody, let me figure it out, because I don't want that to be the norm. And I get it. People, we go through things and we handle it our own different ways. But again, trauma brings upon more trauma.
Yeah, man.
And whether it be the trauma that happened to you, you're going to potentially give it to someone else. So instead of like just kind of having that kind of circle, that kind of never ending effect of repeating the same stuff, it's like, okay, let me think about it, let me analyze it, and try to fix it. Let me have conversations with people. That's the shit. I think that's one of the main things that kind of lacks the most. And I guess in the work, it happens a lot in our salsa community, again, because we go out dancing with the kind of stuff that just dance, especially me. I know I'm the biggest person. Like when I go out and I go dance, I don't go out dancing really to talk and fucking hang around people. I go out dance to dance. I want to listen to music. I want to dance. I want to fucking dance. I want to sweat. I want to do that. So it's very rare that a person gets a chance to sit up there and ask me about personal life stuff. And most of the time I don't want it that way.
I've kind of pried a little bit of sometimes. You and me have had some we've had some real talks, but I think I have to like.
You choose your select like few people to have these type of conversations with. Yeah. And I mean, like you said, Tom, you and I as well, we've had conversations, and like you there's a certain place and time where you do it. Right. Again, for me, dancing usually isn't that place, and I understand that, and that doesn't take away anything from the salsa scene. Yeah. It kind of adds to the salsa scene because it allows me to enter a place where I can, at one point in time, just have this place that I'm focused on dance, and then I meet people, and I'm like, oh, I can focus on life with these people as well. So it's unique and special.
You know what? I'm good to keep talking, but I know Joe's got to leave soon, so I want to wrap this up.
But fine, I'm messaging with men with it.
Okay, no, what I was gonna ask you was like on the flip side of the coin, right? Because I mean, neither of you, thankfully, I'm actually really happy about this, have said particularly bad things. But like, from your perspective, what have been your what do they call it? There's a word I'm looking for. Ahas. Like you were like, oh shit. Like, did anything elicit that kind of response? Like, was it an oh shit moment? To be in an environment that was very different but still inclusive? Does that make sense? My question?
I would say I've had one of them being, I brought up black women because I was surprised to hear how black women feel that they're treated in the scene. Because I think it's for me as a black man, I'm not treated the same way as a black woman. And that can just be, I think there's a lot behind that. And I think it's very true when I hear black women talking about it. it's just something that I can identify with. So when I'm hearing it, I'm looking, and then I look around the room, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see what the fuck they're talking about. Like I get it, I see it, and I don't know why it exists. Some of the issues that again, I'll let them talk about that issue. But in the conversations that I've had with Black women, especially in our dance scene, I'm like, I get your struggle. I fucking get it, and it's not something that I would have ever just been able to just look around the room and just call out by myself.
Right.
That being one of them. I'll let Tom go now. If I think of anything else, I'll mention it.
Yeah, I honestly can't really think of any aha moments that I've had. I mean, I'll have to like really like look deep in. I guess maybe because many times when things do pop up in my head like that,
Yeah.
I really take time. I'm consistently working on myself, guys. Like I'm always working on my desk here, because I know that this machine here can either break you. You know what I'm saying? The way you think, how you think is the key. How you think, yeah. So I usually just whenever those kinds of things that might have popped up happen, I process. Okay, and then after processing, I file away. You know what I'm saying? So like, quite honestly, I can't just regurgitate it up the top of my head.
Yeah, no, it's okay. There's no right or wrong answer. It was just a question, like, because sometimes I think people. You guys ever heard the expression like you ask somebody, "Hey, what do you want to do with your life?" And people's like, "Well, I know I don't want to." I'm like, I didn't ask you what you didn't want. I asked you what you did want, right? You know what I'm saying? So people always lead initially. I think I don't know if it's just the way we're all fucking wired, but I think people lead with the bad and not necessarily with the good, which is, it is what it is. But like, we've talked a little bit about certain challenges or certain issues, but you guys also did say good things. So I'm like, maybe a good thing is that you guys walked in there and were just like, oh, okay, cool. This just flowing. It's like, it's not even I'm just doing my thing. It's not a bad, you know what I mean? Like it's easy. It's kind of easy to flow in. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was.
May I say one?
Yeah. Talk. Say your piece, bro.
There are, and this is not an aha moment kind of thing. I think I realized this. Actually, maybe it was. I don't know. But there are indeed racist people in the salsa scene. Let's just go ahead and say that, and it's all have to be ignorant about it, right? Because people who are racist are not necessarily going to have a big old sign on their head that says, "Hello, my name is racist."
Yeah.
So it's very important that in as much as my experiences have, like I said, the experiences have been good as well, and I don't go into the salsa scene. I don't go on the dance floor looking for negativity. Right? The whole point is to come into a positive space. But I just want to also say, for us not to be naive to think that our thing is like, is immune to that like really disgusting part of our humanity.
You guys were touching on something, and like I had mentioned it, but I stopped like trying to talk on top of you and just started, I kept focusing on you. But I'm reminded again that one of the girls on my team, her name's Denise, she had commented that there is a lot of like, and she's, it's true. There's a lot of thoughts on race in the Latin community, because especially with Latinos, because we're technically kind of hybrid. Right, so much in a sense, like, you know what I'm saying? So there's so much going on with us in general. There are blonde hair, blue-eyed Latinos, and there are, basically like African Latinos, and we run the freaking gamut. And within that context, there's so much. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes on there, and like certain thoughts. So when you say that, I'm like, yeah, shit, I believe that. I believe that, like, for example, when I used to live in New York, I used to go to the Heights and go take class with the Dominicans, right? And there was a lot of, it was funny, there was more Dominican men who were more of African descent. They're the women, but they were also of African descent, but they ended up looking more mixed, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. So I just like, I don't have an answer. I don't even have a comment on it. I was just wondering, like, the experiences, like, how are they different? But I guess the point to say is there's so much difference in the way we're all genetically made up, that you would hope people would be more understanding, us of all fucking people, us. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
All of us who are the biggest melting pots of people that I know, because you go back and you think of other cultures, like they didn't mix as much, but we're kind of the byproduct of mixing in a certain sense. I mean, I know I'm probably generalizing a lot, but I just think that's why I'm saying when I think about it, it's very disappointing to hear Latinos like not be open-minded. Like, dude, you know, trust me. There's, as a Latino man, there's a family member of yours who's black. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? Or there's a forefather of yours who was black. Like, trust me. And get that shit out of your head, because you need to know about yourself, and you need to know about the way you know we all came to be. You know what I'm saying? So like, to hear you say that, it prompts that thought in my head, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I guess there's just no reason to be.
No, we just need to talk, man. We need to talk about it.
Yeah, no, we're talking, right? Joe, you want to say something?
Yeah, like sorry, Joe, I'm gonna let you say what you gotta say. I'm sorry, I'm talking a little bit too much here. But I want to say, like, you know, outside of just the disappointment, like let's engage our Latino brothers and sisters that are saying that have something to say about this, right?
Yeah, most definitely. And there's a lot of them. Trust me. I mean, there's a lot of them too.
Let's engage them and let's find out what's really going on, you know, and maybe we can help elevate their understanding, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's all I can. Go ahead, Joe. That's something to say.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with. Don't get it twisted. Like Tom said, I've experienced some situations where I'm like, all right, this is a little sketchy. But again, it's hard for me to get to that point. I guess this is on purpose of being like, it's only so involved I get. And again, it's not as impactful as living in like our day-to-day life in America. So it's nothing. Again, it's nothing. It's not blatant. It's not just out in your face and punch you in the face. Anything bad happening between anybody. But I think there are issues that still need to be talked about and worked with in our community and our scene as a whole. To just try to, I guess, kind of work for everybody. But again, we are great. Like our Salsa dance community. This is no slight on them at all. The Salsa dance community is great. Like
in general, right? As a general,
it's great. It's literally that big ass melting pot that we talk about being in America.
Yeah.
It's this.
Yeah.
I mean, like even though like Latinos are the majority, like they won't fucking shun anybody from coming to and hang out. You could be a part of it as long as you respect the culture and you come in and you respect the environment. For the most part, you're good. Yeah. And like you can run shit, you can do stuff. Like it's nothing that stops any. But there's an issue. There's an issue, right? Because we do see some of our fucking black artists. We see some of our black artists, and you're like, why are you not hired at more events? We have some phenomenal fucking black artists that you're like, whoa, wait, why is this person not?
This goes back. This goes back to the whole point, right? Look, Joe. Thank you for saying that. That's a really good point. That's a whole separate train of thought. Remember what I said before, like. Why do pop artists look the way they look? They're chosen because they maintain a certain image that a certain person is trying to promote, right? Mm-hmm. So when you see people, I mean, thankfully, if we're being honest, like thankfully we have someone like Deli out there, right? Out there representing and being chosen as being like an acceptable star or like a Juan Matos. But trust me, dude, for anyone watching this who doesn't know who Sekou is, like y'all need to know who Sekou is because Sekou's the shit. But my point is, and I told them this all the time, I'm like, I don't understand how like at this point in his life, I think he's chosen not to get booked because he's trying to dipping himself in another world, right? But dude, the amount of knowledge that motherfucker has in his pinky is more than every single one of the stars who are getting booked day to day. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that goes for Joel, and that goes for Leon Rose, and that goes for Saya Mauricio, and that goes for Shaka Brown. Like, there's so many, and you're 100% right. I don't know if it's just like a matter of promoting only a certain kind of person, you know what I'm saying? Or they're just not shit at the minute, or they're not kissing the right ass. Who knows? Who knows what's happening?
If you ask me, I would say part of it is awareness, you know? Part of it is awareness. If you're a promoter and you look at your fucking lineup, right, and you look at your poster, and you notice that your poster is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not diverse, right? You know, then you notice like, hold on. I'm not asking you to like go out of your way to go do like some sort of affirmative action. But what I am trying to tell you is that do you really not know other black that are actually be at your event, or is there a part of you subconscious, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. It's not that you're supposed to just keep black people out of your event, but is there a part of you subconsciously that says people would rather come to an event and see so and so, a Latino, rather than see so and so, a black guy?
It's crazy too. I mean, that
I know.
I honestly, personally, I don't think it matters like at all. I think if you're good, you're good. Period. You know what I'm saying? That being said, though, if we're being honest, you guys have both said at the very beginning, black people in general. Let me say this: non-Latin black people in the community are a niche. And then there's Afro-Latinos who are also a small niche. So if we lump all that together, that's still only a percentage of the community. So maybe, to your point, maybe it's a numbers thing, right? But I would hope that artists who are good, I mean, if you're just good, like I said, if you're good, you're good. And if you're good, that nothing should get in your way about being highlighted or promoted. And, you know, so you're right, Joe. Like, I can think I should have mentioned Gordon as well. Gordon Neal is amazing. Like, that dude is inspiring to me.
You know, one of the things, hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I'll just need to send my...
You flipped to your phone, right?
No, I can send my manager.
He went,
Yeah.
All right.
I think, you know, it's funny because we think about these different artists and we're like, okay, I usually try to think about things from both sides of it. I'm not going to just say, okay, this is somebody holding us back. It's like, okay, how much are we putting ourselves out there? But I know there's artists who like, you know, who's tried and they just want to get booked at the same rate and pace as other people. And again, it makes sense. It's like you said, I think it's a very conscious choice that people that are promoters have to make to make that almost initiative to make sure, especially here in the United States, that they're more like artists. I'm gonna just say black artists, stars. I don't even know how to fucking say it because that's how weird we are. What is a black artist? Shit, they gonna be from the DR.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask you guys, do people immediately assume if you guys are Dominican or Puerto Rican or something? Do you guys get that?
What the fuck is a black? I mean, Terry is a poster boy for the black community now. He's from fucking Paris.
I know.
Right.
Terry and Cecile they're the poster boy for. They're like the poster. They're like the heavens of the fucking black community right now because they get booked everywhere. They're internationally known. Videos are well watched, and you know, so
yeah.
Again, Terry as well. It's just one of those things. It's not as simple as just being able to call out and be like, "Oh, black people aren't getting booked." It's like, okay, let's really dive into it. The fact that we're having the conversation is enough for people to like, "Oh shit, let me think about this more."
Right.
That's enough for but it's not to put the blame on any party. It's not to put the blame on the artist. It's not to put the blame on the people that's the promoters. It's just something that's not fucking thinking about.
I will actually interject with this though, because I had a conversation with a promoter who runs a pretty big event, and it was completely for a different reason because I was asking for advice on how to do something technical because this person happens to be a techie kind of person, and I'm also kind of a techie dork myself, so I was like trying to talk to him in that. And then as an aside, I said, hey, yo, just out of curiosity, bro, like, I'm not making this about me, but my point is, I asked him, like, I'm looking to get my team more exposure. Like, what can I do? What steps can I take? And then he basically said, which is kind of to the point, that, like, it's almost like there's an incentive for the champions to stay champions. And because they kind of book in advance, you know what I'm saying? So, like, for example, in a normal year where the Congress thing is running, mostly on this side of the world, not in Europe, because I think in Europe they kind of do their own thing too, right? But for the most part, events in November, December, January of next year, they had already booked those talents. And the talents already know they're being booked. So logistically, I understand, but they also have to make sure, like, he basically said it to the degree, like, you have to bring the people that bring the people. You know what I'm saying?
That's a weird ass statement.
That's what he said.
As much as I think that works for our scenes, as much as I think that is true for our scene, these Congress have gotten big as shit. The fact that because we have so many of them, the fact that you're even just hosting a Congress, you can do what you want to. Again, you in that concept of being a leader, you can do what the fuck you want to do.
Right. And that goes to a whole.
So it's like, you know, I get it. You can't. your Congress can't be fucking based around the idea of fucking bringing the top of the top headliners all the goddamn time because people don't support them regardless. And here's the thing. We're talking about still bringing people who are good, and that's just a different form of exposure.
Yeah.
So if you're still bringing somebody who's fucking good, I remember the first time I met Alex and Desiree from New York. They do mostly bachata, but they can dance pretty much every goddamn thing.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
So the first time they had, I'm not gonna mention the Congress because the guy that runs the Congress kind of gets on my fucking nerves here in Chicago. But the first time I met them was at a Congress here in Chicago, and you guys know who the fuck I'm talking about. If you don't know, he would be cool as shit. But he brought them to Chicago, and I never really heard of them. I mean, I've been dancing for a while, never heard of them. Again, they weren't as big as they are now. But he brought them, and I just fucking fell in love with them. They teach extremely well. Their performances are fucking amazing. They're out dancing and social dancing with you all night. They're just interacting with you. They're everything you want in a Congress. And I think that's the part where more promoters need to be more proactive, I guess, open-minded about the idea of like taking a risk on the new people. Like allow people to take that space, give them that space. Yeah. But also at the same time, the younger people, the new people, they have to understand that this shit is a process. As much as we want to talk about the fucking Yamulays and even Delia's gotten extremely big over this past year. Delia, I love your work if you're watching this. Like you have to remember, like this shit comes from like she's been dancing for a long fucking time. Oh yeah,
like 9-10 years. Like it's been a long time.
Denise and Ernesto have been dancing for a long fucking time. Just over these past few years, they're starting to get more recognized. They're traveling more, getting booked internationally. So we also have to respect the process as well. Yeah. But at the same time, there's space for promoters to kind of give people more of that space in that room. And I think it's there, but I think it's just like if you're not getting what you want out of those situations, it's just like, all right, put the head down, get back to work, it'll come. Like I think that's really dope. And I'll tell you guys one thing, small, it's not even a plug. I watched the video with Carol Flores. She was pretty much just talking about her journey, and it was a video I think she did for the Warsaw Congress. And it was fucking amazing. Just hearing her perspective on the concept of dance with life, dance as an occupation, dance as a form of therapy, and then just the concept of separating that from the idea of just like therapy as a whole, like mental therapy. And like just the way she broke things down and the way she was able to communicate like who she is as a person, because we see these artists and we don't get a chance to know them. I mean, they're celebrities to us in our small world. This is our world within a world. And so just hearing her kind of point about it and hearing her talk about the journey and how to go about becoming better and getting to that point that most of us as artists want to, not us, I'm not really artists, I like social dance. You guys as artists want to get to, hearing her talk about their journey and how to stay persistent. I thought that was really, really dope. So if you're looking for a good listen, I think it's like an hour and a half. You should go check it out. Yeah. Free plug for you. I want a private.
Or you'll settle for a social dance.
Right.
Yeah. Oof. I knew this would happen. I knew that we would just start flowing and the conversation would go and you know, the way it went. So I'm glad that I'm glad that we're talking about it. I'm glad we're bringing up separate things. I don't know, is there anything else you guys want to say? Anything else you guys want to like just speak on or give perspective on?
Well, just I want to piggyback on what Joe said. It was from maybe about like 15 minutes ago. Sorry, but I took him
talking 10 minutes.
No, I don't mean that. No, again,
that was you, Tom, talking 20 minutes straight.
No, I just remember that I had put a little mental notes, and it's the blame game. You know, let's not play the blame game. I really want to kind of push that out there. You know, because I feel like sometimes there's a tendency for either one group to kind of say, well, I wasn't there in slavery, so why are you going to like we get it. Okay, cool, it's fine. We know you're not the one that enslaved black people, blah, 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 and all of those things. And neither should we just go out there acting as though, you know, as though every white person is an enemy, right? I really want everybody to use this opportunity, everybody that's watching this video to use this as an opportunity to help all of ourselves to build a better world. Right? We don't need to blame each other for stuff. We just need to ask ourselves the critical questions about how we can move forward. You know what I'm saying? What?
Is this being recorded?
Yeah, what?
The video is being recorded?
Yeah.
No way.
I told you this in the beginning. Why is this news to you? This is
I thought it was a video for us to look at each other and have a fucking conversation. You said you damn fucking fool.
You lying. Is there anything?
I'm fucking scratching my face, digging in my nose and shit. I have no idea.
So you're just being yourself? That's okay. Be a human being. It's okay. No one gives a shit. We're talking. The most important thing is coming out of here. It doesn't matter what you're doing with your nose.
I'm way cuter in person. Don't fucking video.
Then why did you say Carl Flores? If you watched this, you knew. You said.
Like listening to it. I said, yeah, like listening to it.
Oh, it's not live right now, but I intend to kind of chop off the beginning and end of it and post it.
Sure. Yeah, I was really like listening to it. I don't know.
Do you want me to let you guys hear it beforehand? I can cut all this. I can cut this whole thing up.
Sorry, that wasn't to distract away from Tom's point about being able to play the blame game. I think I understand 100% what you're saying, and I think it's if we start speaking notice what I'm saying. If we start speaking in a form of we more, I think that helps cut down a lot of different issues that we have in our society, whether it be in the dance scene or in normal life. Because it keeps you open-minded to the idea of being able to connect with people, and it allows you to have like empathy. And when you start talking about this is the black people issue, this is a Latino people issue, that's the us versus them, or that's you guys. And if you keep it about the concept of we, I mean, I try to use we a lot because at the end of the day, when people start speaking about any goddamn thing, whether it has something to do with me or not, I try to listen to it in the we form because I try to think of how I can help the situation.
That's right.
I'm a part of it. Like, I mean, there's nothing in this fucking universe that we're not all a part of. I'm not fucking Latino. I'm not Mexican. I'm not Guatemalan like Dale says he is. I don't believe him.
Why you don't believe me?
I don't believe you. Whatever.
Wait, he's about to say something racist and shit. What are you gonna say, Joe? I'm too tall? What? What are you gonna say?
But nothing. It's okay. Don't regard it.
He about to talk shit right now too.
But regardless of that, I think if we can still keep it in this form of we, it helps because right now I know in our salsa dancing scene we deal with we deal with a lot of issues of like the LGBTQ community, and we deal with issues of like freaking women getting sexually harassed.
Yeah, man.
And stuff like
if
that.
anything, that's way more rampant in the community, I would say, than like blatant racism.
That's not women's issue. That's not a gay person issue. These are we issues because it's our community. This is us. We have to think about it in that form. I think is a good place to start from. Sometimes we get these all lives matter shit. This is not an all lives matter statement by no means. That's not that. Again, when you're thinking about we, I can realize that, hey, this is an issue that affecting somebody, even if it doesn't affect me. And I can be empathetic to them, and I'm going to try to learn from them. And then I want to let them know that I'm an ally, but I'm going to keep the focus on you. This is not this is, no. The focus remains on you while we deal with the goddamn issue.
And I support you while you deal with it.
So that's the thing. That's the biggest fucking thing. So.
No, that's good.
Yeah, man.
That's good. Actually, that's a mic drop.
Mic drop?
Yeah, that's a mic drop. That's what that was. Tom, you want to drop your mic? You got anything you want to add?
Oh, no, man. No, what Joe said was perfect. I don't want to add anything to that because, like you said, it's a we issue. Don't feel. That's it.
I like it.
Don't post this video.
Why not?
Just Dale. You should have told me. I could have. People already think I'm fucking homeless.
Tom, you are aware this is recorded, right?
I wasn't aware that this was going to be recorded. I don't know what.
I thought you were recording us talking and whatever, dude. You do what you want to do.
Oh, did you think it was only going to be audio?
Yeah, I thought like I don't know what else.
What the hell did you think?
I mean, nothing.
You've made references on this video about people watching it, and then you're telling me that you're surprised that someone's going to watch it. Like I don't.
I didn't. I thought you were recording something. And then we were going to have I don't know what else.
Yes, I'm recording your ass talking. I'm recording the three of us having a conversation so we can like let people hear different thoughts and different perspectives on the matters. You know, like this community is a relatively unique place. You know what I'm saying? So to hear some of the voices in the place that make up the place, because you guys are part of this, I'm a part of it. We're all part of this together with a lot of other different kinds of people from different walks of life. So let's hear some, we're just talking. That's all. That's what this is about.
Dale, if you get an opportunity, you should get some white folks to come talk on your show too.
You know what, man? I was gonna say because that's yeah. That's it.
Oh my God!
I'm putting that in there. I'm gonna put an arrow.
Hey, Joe, do you know you're being recorded?
I'm joking.
No, you know what? My channel was meant to be like a reaction channel, but one of my dancers told me, he's like, bro, you're gonna run out of good things to react to. And I was thinking to myself, no, there's so many years of performances. And I still believe that, but on the same token, I also remember that like I can't think of them off the top of my head. So I'm like running out of things to react to. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to keep these conversations going. I want to like, so I'm going to utilize this. It's a very, 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 very microscopic platform at the moment, but I'd hope to grow it. But at the end of the day, the reason, like I'm saying on YouTube, I feel like this conversation could be heard tomorrow and next year as well. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like as long as these issues are talked about and understood, I think it'll always help people maintain a more broad perspective, which is, I think, what really the only thing anyone asks for. Like, just open your mind, hear me out. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, you're doing it. You're doing it with this particular topic, and now while it's still relevant,
yeah,
and while it's still the main topic. But I mean, if you would have contacted me yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago,
yeah,
I couldn't have this conversation with you because I was not in the right space of mind. Like I've been a fucking mess, like for the last 3-4 weeks. So I mean, it's good. It feels nice to kind of have these conversations. Emotionally, I haven't been even in a place to really even talk about much of anything. So I think it's really nice to that you're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. You're catching you're striking. What is it? You're striking the iron while it's still hot.
yeah.
So I think that's good. I think it could be good. Hopefully, it turns out well and you added me to look like Denzel Washington.
I'm not a magician, bro. I'll put like a little, you know, that head that moves around that looks fake and shit.
I would at least there like this. Like, you know, people that know that their hair is nappy and that they haven't taken a shower, they wear their hats like this in interviews.
You just got a little scrub over here. You good, man. No worries.
That's okay. You can't really see it. This is I haven't watched my ass look for an interview.
It's all good. Fellas, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And just the conversation alone has encouraged me to reach out and talk to other people. I didn't intend this to become like an interview thing, but like I think there's like definitely a vehicle to have a lot of conversations, because you guys are right. We should have these conversations out loud, like and in person, about like all the sexist shit that's going on and all the stuff that the women are dealing with, and you know how other people are included or not included in this community. So I think that everyone needs to speak on it. I think that also part of the reason, and I didn't think too much about it for whatever reason. I told this to you guys immediately. The two of you popped in my head for like no random reason. There's other people I could have reached out to, but I'm like, okay, I've been knowing Joe for a long time. Tom is also in another city, but he's also from Chi, so it's kind of like a connection there. But what I like is that you were from another city, so you can speak on the community over there. You know what I mean? So
right.
Every community probably has its own set of stories, as we all know, right? So. Like, who knows? Who knows how the community in New York is, because they're so used, like New York is like the big social experiment where everybody's there. Like everyone and their mama's in New York. So it's not so alarming to see anything over there. You know what I'm saying? Whereas other parts of the world, it might be like, oh, it's weird. It's weird to be a black dancer in what's that Mormon place? Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe it's weird to be a black dancer in Utah. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I talk to someone, I would know that.
I can hook you up with Corey Paul Jackson. He'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. You know what I'm saying? On the contrary, our friend Ramel, he's in Memphis. It's a very different community out there, right? My girl Leah is down, I think she's in Arkansas right now, but she's moved out there too. You know what I'm saying? So every single community has its own set of rules and its own social dynamic within the community. You know, its own gender dynamics. So it's just interesting to have these conversations, because I think one set of rules does not apply to every scene. But I think generally the construct of the communities is relatively close. I'm guessing. I'm making a broad generalization, but I also feel that might be true. So.
And it's also saying yes. And like the Salsa saying is a very, I mean, Tom, as well, you've been to like the Paris's and the different places. Like it feels like the Salsa scene. It's the reason we started dancing. It's that same. It's that literally, no matter where you go, the salsa scene feels like the salsa scene.
Right.
That's a good thing, right?
That's a really
good. That's good.
And one of the things that I had to say, thought about the other day, when was it? Was it like 2 days ago? And I was just like, wow, somebody from the scene also reached out to me too. I took a picture. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I had a photo shoot with my teams, and took a picture, and they stood with me in solidarity, right? Really very, very strong. And that hit me so hard. I mean, like, obviously I was there when the pictures were taken, but when I went back to go edit the pictures and like get them all ready to be sent out, I was like, damn, these are all people that really believe in this shit. You know what I'm saying? And because of salsa, that's fucked up. Like 10 people in one, and then 5 people in the other, and then 3 in the other. But these are all a group of people that, like, otherwise, they might have been interested in the situation. But one of them, she's from Kansas City.
Yeah.
She very well could have just been like, completely numb to this whole situation.
Yeah.
But like now, she was the one that reached.
But thankfully, she's been exposed to your teaching. You know what I'm saying?
What's that?
She's been exposed to you and your teaching, and it's not so much like, dude, as dance teachers, whoever watches this, as dance teachers, I think Ada's right. Like, we're not only teachers of steps, we're teachers of philosophy, we're teachers of ideology. You know what I'm saying? We're people's therapists, we're people's coaches, we're people's mentors. So there's so much that goes on that people don't really realize. Like, dance teachers are very valuable to people. They just don't realize it until they're like 3 or 4 years later, like, holy shit, this person's taught me a lot.
Exactly.
So it's good to have different voices being those people teaching is what I'm getting at, So that's good. That's good that she's had that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I liked. I know I keep talking about Sekou, but like back in the day, and I'm referencing this for a reason, but like our group, we looked like a damn rainbow coalition because it was anybody and everybody, and there were some other teams that were around at the time where they all just looked the same. Like the T1000 Latino, like model L147 and L157. Everyone looked the same, you know what I'm saying? And then here we come along looking like a fucking motley crew of people, and it was like, cool. This is kind of more reflective of what's really happening in the community. Like our group, it kind of looked more everything. So that's really well. We had a Polish girl on the team. We had an African guy on the team. We had some, like just everybody. So, I mean, I think that was more just authentic. And I think thankfully, that's also currently the reality as well. So I hope it continues that way. And I hope that people still stay cool and take the idea. I got cat, sorry. Hey, stop it. That people take these ideas that they experience in the community, maybe take it to the outside world, because it can't be that. It can't be the same.
My point. That is my point. That's my point. Whatever the people think that we have to continue with, let's take it out there, yo. Let's take it out there, and don't be what's the word? Don't be passive with it, right?
I thought you were gonna say don't be a dick. Because I cuss a lot, sorry.
but don't be passive about it. I'm not asking for someone to be aggressive, but make it active. Make it an active action. You know how they say love is an action word? Yeah. But this is the action word part of it. This is the action part of the word, right? And just like say, hey, you know what can I do? Okay, yeah, what you can do is you can talk to your people. I mean, I feel like I've said that maybe like 4 times already.
No. It's good. It bears, it needs repeating.
But it's huge to me. This is my own protest, right? This is my own way of saying, how can I make a difference? How can I make a change? I thought about it a lot. And it's like, somebody reached out yesterday, right? And I'm sharing this with you guys. You guys are probably like the second or third people that I've actually shared this with. Somebody reached out to me yesterday from college. I haven't spoken to this chick. She's a white girl. I haven't spoken to her for 15 years at the very least, I would say. I know, I'm old as fuck, but it's fine, whatever. I haven't spoken to this.
You fly, baby.
For 15 years, and she reached out to me and she was like, yo, Tom, I've been following you on Facebook. I've been following some of the things that you've been saying. And I just have to let you know that I have learned a lot so much from the last couple of days and your posts, those kinds of things. And dude, I'll tell you something. Probably about 2 days ago, up to about yesterday when I saw that post, I was borderline getting depressed, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know, because we got to a point where I was just like, is this thing ever going to change? Is there really anything that can happen that can make this shit stop happening, or is this thing just going to keep on happening over, and then we're going to have another march, and then it's going to happen again? And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really started getting to this very, very
like ice skating uphill, where you just keep coming right back down.
Yeah, and I have good days and bad days, but but yesterday was a really, like, when I read that, just knowing that if I am able to get one person, two people, maybe three people to be able to think a little bit more about what's going on and maybe help them realize that there is a problem. If I can reach those three people, I'm not saying that my job is done, but I am saying that I feel happy that I am actually contributing to making a better change.
Yeah.
And so when she told me that, I was very happy to hear it, and I responded, and I'm just like, and that's why I really believe that, all we got to do is we got to treat the coronavirus, man. We just have to keep on pressing. I would just spread from you, make yourself a point of contact to actually like spread this out. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe two people that would touch another two people individually, and then they would touch two people individually, and then maybe we can finally root this thing out, but it's like still, because it's very popular,
Most stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I know we're wrapping up, but I just to kind of piggyback off that, I think it's one of those things where I hear a lot of people saying, well, I said it earlier that people do things their own unique way, and I 100% believe that. But at some point in time, you have to think beyond yourself and your own comforts. Like, I know we all have, like, I like to do it this way, and I want to do it that way, and this is the way I go about doing it, but we're all being watched. Everybody. I mean, yes, leaders more so than everybody else, but again, your friend from college came out of nowhere and hit you up. Everybody's being watched. We always have access to another person's mind.
Correct.
But you don't even know it. So again, you just try to do your best, but try to do something.
That's right.
Like, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if it, like, you don't know what you're saying at the time. And also, I think us as a society and us as a people need to be more, I guess, empathetic to the idea that people don't know, or the fact that people fuck up and then they got to go back and fix whatever they thought they knew. Yeah. Like, we can be open-minded about that as well, as long as you're
yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Well,
there's a lot of opportunity.
Ignorance is okay. I mean, because it just means you don't know. But if you're unwilling to learn, like, I heard this expression, Tom, you know Jim Rohn by chance?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jim Rohn said, he's like, could, should, won't is different than could, should, don't. Like, in one case, like, you just don't know, so you're not doing it. But in another case, you're making an active decision to not do it. You know what I'm saying? So you can be ignorant. I'm ignorant on how to, pot plants. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to grow flowers. I don't know about that stuff. I'm ignorant, right? And that's okay. But if someone sits there and tries to explain it to me and tells me, yo, you got to do this, that, and then, okay, cool. I'm open. I'm hearing you. You know what I'm saying? And as long as we're, like, listening, I think, to your point, Joe, I'm agreeing with you. But I'm just saying,
that's tough. No, it's tough. I mean, it's really easy because people get attacked so quickly about everything. So it's easy to get defensive.
Yeah.
It's easy to put up a wall. At the same time, it's like sometimes, but at the same time, even if this topic in America right now about race, I had to have a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was like, I'm tired of trying to explain it to you. Like, that's my shit. It's like we keep hearing the same shit. The stuff with Colin Kaepernick, he tried to do it his best way and all this other stuff. He had a message. And people try the hardest way, listen, but just listen to the message. This is the message. He may not be delivering or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, people didn't hear it. And now we look back on it 4 or 5 years later, and we have this situation. And it's like, if you continuously choose to make this whole interaction of you learning that difficult, listen, I'm gonna back the fuck up, because you're not about to be that stressful person in my life where every time something happens, I gotta fucking fix you about it. No, if you don't want to fix yourself,
take responsibility, right?
Yes, you got to do it. You got to take that into your own accountability.
Take responsibility for your mind. Yeah. I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Fellas, I got love for both of you. I want you guys to be safe. Hopefully we come out of this, Tom, and something happens, change happens. Hopefully those fuckers get put away. Who knows? I don't even have a good out for this, but just thanks, guys. Thank you for talking. And
if people listen, and I keep saying this, I was with Tom. I know we're wrapping this up on some real shit. We were talking, and everybody's my biggest fear right now is that everything that's happened will happen, and then it'll be last week's news, right? The protests and the rioting and the looting, that wasn't even step one. That was literally, that's not, we've seen all this shit happen before. That's not step one. People have to be very active in the concept of change, and change is not just this change for black people stuff. It's a change that we're like looking to, that we need for anybody, any minority as a whole. The minorities consist of fucking gay people, consist of fucking Guatemalans,
trans
Mexicans,
people, yeah,
fucking white women, women in general,
yeah.
black women, like anybody. Like it's, my thing is like we have to keep our fucking foot on this fucking on the pedal right now, and not just think it's over with. Even if they do get arrested and all this other shit, we have real issues that need to be fucking taken care of.
That
and
is,
they have to be taken care of.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I think Say what?
I said Joe Spencer for president.
No, because actually that gets to a whole thing. You know, like I'm super guilty of this, fellas, and I'm putting my shit on blast. Like I've been of the opinion whenever I have voted, I've always voted for an independent because I don't like the idea that. Excuse me for saying this, whoever gets offended by this, but I don't like my choice being White Bob or Bob White. Like that's not a choice to me. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been like, fuck that. I'm gonna go for the third. Just because I need there to be another option. Even if that option, because I intellectually understand there's no chance in hell for that third option to be viable, but they need 5% of the vote to become someone who can actually speak on the debate to offer another perspective, right? So for my reason, that's been my rationale. That being said, it's become more and more apparent to me that we all need to be like super active, like here, locally. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where shit's gonna change as much as it does. Because we got like this is literally like a house that's stacked on top of itself. It's not like it's unreasonable, even though that fucking orange clown up there is. It's unreasonable to think one person can change everything. You know? So like a bunch of people with a bunch of different ideas have to change everything. You know what I'm saying? Like. Right. We got some of these new women up in Congress, like who are changing things. They're making their voices heard. There's like, if I'm not mistaken, a woman of Middle Eastern descent. We got AOC up in there talking different stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got different voices, and I think that's the thing that needs to become because those are the people who actually write the laws to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that really will cause systemic change, which is really, I think, what we're all kind of concerned about, right? I mean, because systemically, this thing is fucking broken. Anyone who disagrees with that is just either profiting from the lopsidedness of it or just like unwilling to embrace change because change will happen. It's inevitable. I mean, it's the only constant in life is that things are going to change. You just got to be on the right side of it, you know?
We hope change happens on the right side of it, but it's a lot, man. I think one of the most exciting things I've seen over this last, I guess, weekend, 5 days or whatever since everything happened. Yeah. Just people understanding their voice. People understanding their voice and understanding their actions and all this other stuff. But again, it has to be beyond this past week. It has to be beyond this month. It has to be beyond COVID because it's a continuous fight. And that's the biggest part. I think we all deserve some type of salute for being aware and making it through all of this shit because it keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But you allow yourself to go through those emotions and then you pick yourself up and you got to be thinking about, okay, what do I need to do to help the next part? So man, it's good. It's nice to hear you guys' opinions, but outside of that, how are you guys doing in general? Like how are you guys?
I ain't gonna lie, personally, distressed. This like, even just like, hearing the shit that this guy wants to do, it distresses me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the reality of it is, in my heart of hearts, I know how I live my life, so I don't feel any kind of guilt about anything that I've done, but I feel concern for the way things are going and the conversations that I see some people having. It's distressing to see people talk like that. It's distressing to see that people actually think like that. You know what I'm saying? It's distressing for this country, which was, I mean, fuck, everyone knows this. This is not a secret. These motherfuckers came and stole this country. But that seems like somehow that's just okay. That's okay. Because when certain people do it, it's okay, but when other people do it, it's not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like all these backwards ass rules, and when you start thinking about like, I don't know, I'm kind of getting back on Tom's point, like when you formulate your philosophy on something, it's a bunch of different ideas that compile themselves to your philosophy on something, right? And then all of a sudden you're hearing these people talk about blah 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 blah, and you're like, dude, like, what the fuck, like, what formed that thought in your head? Like, that's such a fucked up, on so many levels, thought to have. Like, on so many levels, your ass is broken and you don't even realize it. And that's fucking distressing because there's so many people like you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's why it's so freaking like, fuck. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't know, man. That's how I'm doing. I'm trying to do, like I said, I was talking out loud. I was talking to some friends that I have, you know, some confidants that I really trust, and just telling them, like, I got to do something, you know? So I want to try to have conversations. It's probably step one of something I'm gonna end up doing, but like, it's something, bro. You know.
This is something, brother. This is something.
No, I know. Yeah. Thank you.
This is something, and just so I get a chance to like also talk about, you know, what Joe was asking about.
Don't go plug in your classes right now. This ain't the time, baby.
So the beautiful last Sunday of every month. So don't forget. Even though
no shame.
Even though I was just joking about that, I totally just plugged it.
Joe and me are like, this ain't the time, Tom. This ain't the time for your classes.
I'll be there taking notes.
Support this man's classes. Support Black artists.
No, it's not about that. It's just about, I think, I was in a very, I know there are a lot of people that are probably doing like worse cases than me, and I guess sometimes I use that to maybe justify some bullshit that I don't know, I don't even know what to say at this point. But I was going through some very rough times over this last week specifically, like week and a half, I should say, like really rough, you know? I mean, another part of this whole equation, which we don't have time to get into right now, is the whole African versus, you know, Black American race, you know, dichotomy that also happens too. But that's a different, separate topic for a separate time. Yeah. You know, so just like trying to find my own identity, not that, and trying to like, you know, navigate through, you know, in my processing of the bullshit that is happening these days. But then also just kind of thinking to the fact of like, you know, what am I doing? You know? And I think maybe that was the thing that really hit me the hardest is like, yo, Tom, what are you doing? What have you done? What are you doing, and what are you going to do about this? And then should I do anything? And what can I do? All those kinds of questions, like just consistently going through my head, right? You know, and one of the things, and I had some conversations with some people about this because, like I said, dude, it bugged me. It was bugging me. So I was just like, I felt powerless. I felt, you know, even like with protests and the riots, like, I was just like, what the fuck is the point of even going to a protest anyways, right? But we're just going to do it again a couple of months, you know what I'm saying? And I felt that way. And I really felt so helpless, you know, and I felt like I really couldn't do anything and there was nothing I could do. But a couple of conversations that I had kind of went on to what Joe was talking about how to actually affect change, right? It's not, you know, the way to affect change is not necessarily just going with what everybody else is doing, but find out what it is that you can effectively do, right? That you can effectively do to actually make, because honestly, yeah, if I went on the riot, because I'm not riot, on a protest, if I went to the protest, I could have shown my support there, and I could have had some videos there, had some pictures there. Hey guys, check me out! You know, at the sport, I'm at the rally, all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, honestly speaking, it's not. To me, it's not the most comfortable use of what I felt I was able to do for this cause. You know what I'm saying? And what would happen? That I would go there. And I just know, like, I would go there and I would feel like, what am I doing here? You know? And if I'm using my energy that way, I'm actually wasting my energy because I'm not using my energy in a productive way, right? A way that actually speaks to my heart for me to actually be able to thing real that is real to me, the way I'm actually projecting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I have to look deep down and I started to try to figure out all the little things that I could do. And I literally was looking and I was like, man, the conversations. This is what I do, right? I connect to people, I try to talk to people, try to see how people can change from a very, you know, good level, not just like head level, but from a good level. How can I make people start to really, really notice what the difference? And the place the biggest passion was, I noticed because I had to think, right? The place where my biggest passion was really, really spreading the word.
Yeah, Joe said it. Joe said it, I think, really well when he was like, you know, everyone can play the role. There's a lot of roles to be had right now, and like, I don't want to I'm paraphrasing, but Joe, you said like everyone can do the way that, you know, do help, contribute as I guess.
Yeah, because I'm also feeling like I was as part of the whole thing, right? To add to the equation of frustration that I was feeling, I was beginning to feel guilt. I was like, oh man, I'm a black guy, and I'm not out there on the front lines, you know, marching with everybody else, you know, and I'm just being vulnerable with you guys. I mean, I don't know who else is watching this, but whatever, you know, I'm just being very vulnerable, like, you know. But yeah, no, Joe, what you said, I mean, was really expressive, but it's
spot on, bro.
yeah. And I had to find that out, but I actually want to take that point and actually, like, you know, send it right back to you, Dale. You know, and just let you know, because I know you were also feeling some kind of frustrations that you were expressing, you know, about 15 minutes ago.
No, you know what? I seriously think we could keep talking for like 5 hours. I just don't know that my video thing will record that long. But what I do want to say was a big part of the reason why I was kind of distressed too is because like that motherfucker's talking some crazy stuff right now. And like if people are paying attention to who that guy is, he's like a fascist worshiper. And like I was having this conversation with my mom. Mind you, my mom's in her 70s and she's from Honduras. And she is like literally from a different world, from a different time, with completely different ideas. And a lot of the times we converse, I have to kind of talk to her. You know, she's self-aware enough to understand that this is a different time. But she was asking me like, why do you feel the need to do something? And then she said something that triggered me. And she's like, this ain't your fight. I'm like, no, you got this all wrong. I go, this is definitely something that I need to be involved in because I cannot sit to the side and know that I didn't do anything. Because whatever the hell I do, I did something because I have to do something. You know what I'm saying? And that's more important to me because I told her I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to be there because if that's like how you're thinking of it, I don't want to live in that world. You can live there, but I can't. I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I told her. And that's what I feel like, you know, to answer your question. So.
No, that is fucking amazing. The fact that you had that conversation with your mom, like, I don't want to live in that. That's almost like that, you know, you watch a movie, Get Out, and it's like that version of a sunken place.
Yeah, man.
It's like this place where you're like, oh, whatever. I have conversations with friends, and they're like, oh, they always call me negative because I'm the person, listen, I believe in complaining, but I also believe in taking some type of actions and trying to do something. So I don't like me throwing rooftop parties and all that type of stuff. That's me saying, okay, I want to try to do something to get back to the scene. Yeah. Also, I see things where I'm complaining, like, oh, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with that. So I do little things to try to fuck. Dale, you heard me shit.
I'm laughing because I've heard this shit. I'm like, shut up, Joe, do something.
I want to be all about complaining, but at the same time, I'm not going to let you get me to a place where I'm just in a sunken place. Like, I'm just like, I give up. Yeah. You got it. It is what I don't want to get to that place. So I'm like, I will argue and debate it, and then friends will be like, oh, you're being negative. I'm like, no, I'm just speaking my mind in hopes that you may feel the same way with me, and then we can kind of do this shit together. Yeah. But obviously, you're not thinking about it that way, which is cool, which is fine. Some people refer to me as Black Jesus. I'm joking. So, I mean, it's like, it's cool. I get it. You're not at that phase that I can't let that stop me from kind of doing what I need to do because I'm like you, Dale. I cannot, like, when this shit all broke out, for the first like 3 or 4 days, in my head, I'm like, I am moving from here as soon as I get the opportunity to.
Dude, one of my friends, he's Boricua. He was telling me, I don't want to like put him on blast, but he made a comment. I mean, I understand. The thing of it is, he said, he's like, dude, I'm done. I'm done with white people. I want to get away. I want to go to PR and just be on an island. You know what I'm saying? And like, just get the fuck away from this, like this. You know, maybe this is a social experiment. Maybe 200 years from now, everyone will go back to their place. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Who knows what the fuck's going to happen? You know, I hope not. because I think this is representative of what could be. You know what I'm saying? And I think if we all just get on board with each other mentally, the fucked up part is it's actually not difficult. It's just being fucking decent, be a decent person. You know what I'm saying? That's all anyone really ever asks of you. Be decent, and if you wouldn't want that shit for you, then don't want it for somebody else. Like, why would you actively want something bad for someone? Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying?
Man, the shit is so confusing. But I guess, like, as much as I think about it, it's really hard for me to stick with that thought in my mind because I'm like, I can't imagine being somewhere else looking on TV and saying, hey, I didn't at least try.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Hey, I didn't try to help that situation.
I just ran.
You know, this is not a me thing. This is not, I'm not, but I have to, like, you do your part. I don't feel good unless I do my part.
Yeah.
Right. And so,
right.
You know, you can do your part and whatever comes from that, it comes from it. And that's the only way I can sleep better at night. And that's the shit, man. It's not, I'm with you, man. Like, the shit doesn't even make sense of how, why are we still at this fucking place?
Yeah, it seems ridiculous. Like, if you spoke this to an alien, they would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? What the fuck's wrong with you guys? I read something about some astronomer, some like brainiac guy from NASA. He was talking about the heavens and about traveling space, and he said this civilization will not do it. Like, as it stands, these people, we don't have our shit together enough to actually work together. Because if we work together, this place would be a fucking utopia. You know what I'm saying? And just the thought of that is encouraging and depressing because it's like, that's your reason? Like, that's it? That's so fucking shallow. There's nothing substantial about that reasoning at all. Do you know what I mean?
Having tits or whatever, like,
yeah, like fuck. You don't like me because I'm a shitty person. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, give me a reason. Like, substantiate your shit for a reason. Don't just be surface with your whole shit.
Well, we see the reason. Cause you like, if you're gonna not like me for this, then you know the fucked up part. We could just, even when I can't be like, I don't like you. Like, I'm like, you don't like me because of this, right? And I'm like, I still can't be like, I don't like you. It just doesn't make sense for a motherfucker to be able to hate people for something so simple.
Right, exactly. It's ridiculous. It really is. It's literally ridiculous. And when you even know, like, if you ever look into, like, there's that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? And they're talking about quantum energy and atoms. We're literally floating atoms. And we're like energy that floats in space. And that's what we really are. Someone took a big-ass microscope to Tom's freaking, like, eyeball. That's all he would be, just floating atoms, you know what I'm saying? And when you think about that, that's what we really are. This whole thing becomes fucking absurd. Like, what are you guys fighting about? Like, what stance are you taking for this absolutely trivial fucking reason? Sorry.
We have way more in common than
clearly
separated.
Clearly.
And the more we begin to realize, I think the better it is going to be for us to be able to accept the bachateros. You know what I'm saying?
Don't get crazy, Tom. Don't get crazy. That's crazy talking right there.
I'm sorry, I have to get back to there.
Oh shit, all three of us too. We're all at zero. Sorry, not sorry.
You don't know where those aliens came from.
Nah, man. All the bachata people immediately put like dislike. Oh shit. All right, y'all. Guys, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for having this talk. Just with me in general, I appreciate you guys like having this talk with me. That we, you know, individually have the relationships to have these kind of discussions because I think they're important. So that's it, man. I got nothing else to say. If you guys want to say something else, then we're gonna wrap this up.
Well, Del, if you find somebody that disagrees with you on this issue, I would like for you to invite them to do your show as well.
To talk.
Yeah, so you guys, so you can talk it out. I mean, not somebody that you know can actually speak rationally to the point that they're trying to make. You know, so that it doesn't just become a screaming fence. Because I guess maybe part of it too is just, hey, you know what? Let's find out what's on the mind of other people that are not on the same side. Because obviously, it's easier for us to talk to people who agree with us, right? It's harder to discuss with people who don't agree with us. Right? Yeah. So, but then it's important for us to hear their perspectives as well.
That would be a very big challenge of my patience, but yes, I could try to do that.
You know, but I think that would I think that'll be pretty good. Just in the whole overall discourse,
Yeah.
you know, and then that way I think because you're gonna have. I mean, I won't say you're going to have. You currently have people that don't even really know what to think. That don't even really know what stand to take. That
Joe.
they're like, yeah.
Joe, I need to play the orchestra music on Tom, right?
What you say?
I need to play the orchestra music on Tom so he can wrap it up. I tried to.
You gotta get Tom to wrap it up for us.
I'm gonna pull a sign like this. Wrap that shit up, homie. No, man, no, for real though. Thank you for your thoughts.
You good. I get it. I 100% agree with you, and I love that message. The more we can get people to, again, not be separated from just by the idea of us thinking differently, we're fine. Like,
That's okay.
yeah, we have to be able to have those conversations with people. As long as nobody's getting disrespected or disrespectful, I think it's like you have to have it. There's a reason why they think that way, and it's a learning opportunity for both parties. Like, we don't have to agree, but both can learn from one another.
Yeah.
So it's just that. Yeah, man. I appreciate this conversation.
No, man, thank you.
It's helped me.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys too. Thank you. Like, you guys have always been a positive, like, energy in my life. So thank you for that. And I hope I've been the same in my way.
Well, you know.
All right, y'all. Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
No, before you, we can't let you go off on that. Now, you have been a huge inspiration in my life. I would say that for me. You know, I think they say the same. I'm very important leader in the Chicago Salsa community.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, so
You cry.
make sure that you recognize that, and everybody needs to go to salsadanceplanet.com.
I'm saying, dude, I've been in a hole for 2 months working on that shit.
That stuff is nice, bro.
Oh, we designed a whole course. You know, everyone's just doing the class. We're doing like a whole thing. So, I mean, I hope people like it. When people see it, I hope they like it. But it's not about that. This is not about promotion. This is about conversation.
I know.
Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
But it's awesome, and we have to recognize that, okay? All right, I'm done.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys.
Peace.
All right, I'll see you guys later.